कैसे एक्सेप्ट करना है। आप
क्या
लिंक देना उनको बस।
एक मिनट।
अच्छा, एक चीज है, कोई भी जो रहेगा ना वो यूट्यूब सॉरी जूम पे यूट्यूब शेयर मत करना अपना कंप्यूटर, एंड एवरीवन जस्ट डोंट सी यूट्यूब। आई विल गिव यू द स्क्रीन शेयरिंग।
Good evening, people. Welcome to the first digital event by Viscraft Delhi. Before we go any further, I'd like to share with you a short, brief AV. Thank you for joining us here this evening. We might be a little off when it comes to timing because we're trying to get used to this brand new word, which is digital, and the brand new world, which is the post-COVID world. We have tried to put together a presentation as we would make it to our clients, showing them the offerings that Viscraft would be able to provide to them from tomorrow itself. This might seem, you might find a few glitches here or there, so please bear with us. We're still trying to sort out many issues and concerns, and technology, as you know, for a person my age, is never a strong point. But before I say anything more and waste your time, let's quickly go to Avnish so that he can present to you the credentials for Viscraft Delhi for the new digital world. Over to you, Avnish.
Thank you, Sandeep. Can I have my slides on the screen, please? Good evening, everyone. Good to see you all again. We just met a few hours before, and here I am again presenting another round of credentials. The deck which we are presenting is the WIP deck. So there will be certain instances where it looks a little disjointed. Please ignore that. And let me just begin. So very clearly, innovation and technology, without saying, has always been at the heart of our DNA. For the last 30 years, we have been championing events across different industries. We've been setting benchmarks across different industries as we've gone ahead. Let's take a quick glimpse of those iconic marquee events. India's first virtual test drive for Tata Tiago, where we created a very cost-effective virtual drive gear and we placed it on the newspaper and we created the entire virtual drive experience. The Hannover Messe opening Make in India Lion was brought alive by augmented reality. That was a benchmark event and the whole country went gaga over it. We created the opening ceremony of the GES 2017 with Ivanka Trump and Narendra Modi. We used the Hologos projection as to tell our story. And then we've been doing a lot of technology events for the Prime Minister, whether it was the IPBP launch event or Ayushman launch, from touch screens to rotoscopy to conductiving, we have championed these events. Now let's come to 2020, and 2020 is the era of innovation and technology and being phygital. Yes, phygital is the word which you have heard everywhere, and I am here to take you into the world of what phygital is. So what is Phygital? It is the new normal of 2020. It is a language between brands and consumers. We all know the COVID impact. We all know the impact of COVID in terms of events. People, no one is doing any physical event. We are not allowed to travel. So the entire realm of experiencing an event is going to change. So that's where Phygital fits right into the picture and becomes a new language between the brands and consumers. This is a space where a digital world and a physical world meet together, and it is completely a journey which is real time, immersive, and yes, that's the key word, remote. And we are ready for it. We are so ready for it. Let's see what we have for you. Now, ideally, there are a couple of events which usually happen throughout the year. We have bucketed it into one, product launches. Everyone has something or the other to launch. Second, you always have exhibitions and expos. The third type of event is a special one-off brand experience event, which is all PR led. And then you have smaller events like training, workshops, entertainment events, internal events of companies which happen. Now, for these particular four genres, we have tailor-made Phygital solutions, namely 1, hybrid events, 2, virtual events, 3, webinar and VC, 4, live stream and webcast, and 5, Viz Studio. Now, mind you, these events, these solutions can be utilized as a one-off, but can also be combined together depending on what the brief is. So let me take you straight through our first offering, which is hybrid. What are hybrid events? Very simple. In layman words, you shoot in the physical world, you produce in digital. It is extremely suitable for product launches, for conferences, for dealer meets, internal events, and much more. Just like real physical events. So let me just give you a small setting. During an event, we experience the stage, the sound, light, the adrenaline. There is a give and take in terms of the physicality of it. Now, how do you maintain that adrenaline, maintain that realism, but yet do a virtual launch where your audience is sitting in their homes or in their offices and experiencing the same? That is where hybrid events play a big role. Can we have the virtual person on stage, please? Now, as you see, I would be ideally presenting, though the hairstyle matches mine currently, I would be the person standing right there in real time and talking to you guys. Right now, because of the lockdown situation, I'm not being able to travel to a Chroma studio, but I would be right there. You want to know how? Here you go. This video will take you through what just happened. Can we play this video, please? The green video, please. So as you saw what happened, there is a Chroma studio, and whether it is a presenter, whether it is a product, whether it is an entertainment act, whether it is any customized segment which you normally would have planned for a stage event, we all take that in a Chroma studio and we shoot all of that. And once we shoot all of that, that footage is taken into post-production. It is put on a virtual stage, all custom made into a seamless video, and is played to the audience which is watching. Let me give you a demo of how the product launch will be. Can we have the product launch demo, please? Right. So if you can pause the video, what we see right now is a product launch done in an augmented reality format. So basically the speaker is on stage and we are in a position to launch any product which can come either from the stage or from the side or from whichever way. A very interesting way to launch a product without the product physically being there. But we also have an option, like how we got the speaker right in the Chroma studio. We could take our product, the real-time product, and shoot it and conceptualize a launch event and again put it on the virtual stage. So we have two options which we have in the hybrid event format. Now, how will the audience experience a hybrid event? So as you can see, we have taken a perspective from someone who's sitting in their living room and watching this event on their laptop, which is connected on a plasma screen. As you can see, the virtual stage is on and the MC introduces the event as how she would or he would introduce it on the stage, and the entire video plays right in sequence. So from the person giving the presentation to the launch to the entertainment act, everything is in sequence. We have our console, which is live, which I will talk to you about in a minute. We have interaction and engagements, which are live. I'm sure you all are watching this on YouTube live, and the chat feature is on. So you will be, I see a lot of questions which are coming on the YouTube live, and we will answer them later. We all have these live integrations and plugins. What is recorded live, as I said, is presentations, product launch sequence, your brand experiential area, and your entertainment acts. Let me come to the next segment, which is virtual events. What are virtual events? Virtual events are high-tech and future-ready events. Basically, we spoke of hybrid, which was physical and digital. Virtual events are all digital. There is no physical interactions at all. All the content which is created through computer graphics, and this is a great platform for any sort of gamification, creating virtual avatars, emoji characters. It is extremely suitable for product launches, exhibitions, and special events. With virtual environments, you're not restricted to any banquet hall or any other specific venue. So largely, whenever we go and do on-ground events, sometimes the height is less, sometimes the ballroom is too small, etc., etc., etc. But in a virtual event, we can go anywhere. We can go to the moon, we can go to Mars, we can go to the beach, we can create our own abstract worlds. Excellent to give your audience a very different brand experience. Let me take you to a video and you will exactly understand the journey of how a virtual event is. So as you can see, this dome is created on a cloud. The cloud is holding this beautiful venue. Now, where would you ever have a chance to build a venue on a cloud? That's the power of a virtual event. You have characters, you have real-time conversations with those characters. There are chatbots, excellent for a large format showcase, excellent for exhibitions, excellent to showcase a brand environment in its entirety. And yes, excellent for gamification as well. If you can see the virtual stage, There's another video which is a car launch video. So car is created through computer graphics. We have modeled, so we can model the car in its exact dimensions, and this can be created in a great sound and light show which is virtual. If you see, the people who are attending it are all emojis or virtual avatars who are sitting there, and they are experiencing this launch event of a car. So sometimes you may not have the car, you may not have the bandwidth for any physical presence. So that's where virtual comes into play. I mentioned this earlier, excellent for an auto expo or any exhibition format where you have multiple pavilions, you have more than 1,000 to 5,000 people attending it, and it is excellent for a B2B kind of a format. I'm going to skip this. The third service is webinar. I'm going to quickly talk about webinar. We have, in the last 2 months, witnessed so many webinars, whether it was our Zoom calls, it was some panel discussion, it was training, it was entertainment. Why are webinars so popular? One is because they're extremely effective for building conversations. They are very easy to set up. Logistics, it's a hassle-free setup. Logistics are easier. It's not complicated at all. Extremely effective for data analysis, surveys, live polling, and data retention. You can get real-time reports of people who have attended, people who have engaged. The ROI is calculated in a much more effective way through webinars. Very suitable for internal events, training, workshops, and entertainment. Now, there are 4 types of webinars largely. Webinars which are used for presentations, entertainment, training workshops, and CRM. We shall fill those details tonight. Live stream. Now, live stream is one of the most popular platforms, and hopefully this will kind of become popular as the lockdown norms get a little easier. It is a physical event done. You will have a stage, you will have an LED, you will have the lights, you will have everything like what you see and plan in an event, but there will be no audience. The same thing is live casted on social channels. So that becomes a live streaming event. The OnePlus event is a great example of a live stream event. They were the first people to do it 1 month before, right in the middle of the pandemic. They did it in their office and the impact was amazing. And largely we have something called as the Wizcraft Studio. Now to explain what Wiz Studio is, I'm going to call Maya on the screen, and Maya will take us through what Wizcraft Studio is. Over to you, Maya.
Hi, everybody. You know, everything that you've heard, Avnish is literally the Wiz from the Wizcraft brand. He's been taking us through how you can do things very virtually and get onto a new platform because everything has changed. I'm going to try and tell you that while everything has changed, a lot of things don't change. That is character, soul, what you call brand identity, what you call graphic language, which grabs you, or all the creative aspects that go into any event, whether they're virtual or they're on ground or they're in your mind. We need to grab your emotions. We need to grab your top of mind awareness. And for that, we have a very, very exciting and interesting service that we would like to offer all of you. If you take a look at what I have on my forehead, that's my brand. That's my design. That's what sets me apart, and someone will say, oh, why haven't you got this on? So we want to create a graphic language, a graphic design, a soul, a character for every experience that goes on to the virtual platform. So whether it is phygital or it is physical or it is digital, we want to touch you. We want you to be remembered. And for you to do that, you need creativity. And for that, we have something we're really, really proud to offer as a service to everybody who needs some kind of identity and character. And that we'd like to call the Wiz Studio, a creative service offering that will take you from brand equity, brand design, brand image, right down to installations, decor, and everything else that brings to life and experience. Let's move to Wiz Studio.
Thank you, Maya. That was awesome, and we are very excited to present to our clients what Wiz Studio has to offer. So that kind of sums up, comes to the last part of our presentation. The Wizcraft advantage, we've kind of had more than 8+ years in the virtual space, though everyone talks about virtual right now, but we, as how we began the presentation, have always focused on innovation and technology being right in our DNA. We have delivered more than 100+ webinars, and webinars are in fashion right now, but for the last 4-5 years, we have been spearheading webinars for 2-3 of our clients, and this is not a new subject for us. We have, very importantly, a robust, ready to go model for hosting these digital events. Right now, we are ready to conceptualize and take your events live with immediate effect. And yes, we have a highly experienced digital workforce with us as well. Some key clients which we have worked with, IBM does a lot of webinars with us, Oracle and Cisco, Intel, etc., etc., etc. Thank you, everyone. I think that was a fantastic session, and let's get Sandeep and Maya on the screen again, and we shall discuss the questions and the comments which you have put on the YouTube chat feed.
So Avnish, how was it? How was presenting the credentials to the entire Wizcraft Delhi team on the first virtual event being done by us? How did it feel?
Well, it was the new presentation, which was incomplete. So I felt a little lost. But yeah, this is exciting. I mean, I think I'm waiting to hear the feedback from all our Wizes. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of learnings and certain things which we will need to do, especially have a presenter laptop as well next to me so that I don't have to change from Zoom and whatever. But yeah, how about you, Maya?
Well, I think it's great, really, really exciting and promising. And I think this is the only way we're going to be able to move forward. This is the new us, which we will have to work with. And wonderful. We're open to questions.
Right. So, Sandeep, do you want to moderate this, or should I moderate the questions and you can
moderate, Avnish?
Right.
You moderate.
Okay. So the first question we have is by Gaurav. What's the approximate timeline involved for a hybrid event once content and plan is closed? I'll take that question, Sandeep. So largely, we can't really give you a specific timeline because it all depends on the complexities of the hybrid event. It could be from 3 weeks to 2 months as well. It all depends on what the brief is, how many integrations we want, what kind of virtual environments we want to create, etc., etc., etc. But a general timeline in terms of ballpark, I would look at 20 to 25 days minimum.
Actually, I would like to add to that, Avnish. It actually depends on how well your relationship is with Maya and the creative team. Okay, and if it's good, your event will happen within a span of 5 days. If it is not, like mine isn't, it might take happen next year.
That's exactly why, Sandeep, I'm called Mahamaya.
Yeah, right. And one more input, Avnish. Don't look at your phone when looking at questions. You have a screen. Look at the screen.
So that's the learning that we have to have another laptop.
No, I have it open. I have it open in front of me. I have the YouTube chat open also in front of me.
Right.
Okay. The next question by. Actually, there was a question before this also. The question was, can everybody see each other's questions when they type out on YouTube Live? Yes, the answer is yes, everybody can see. And that is something that we did not realize till now. So we will need to be very selective in how we ask our questions and who we invite for a particular demo session. How do we control interaction between viewers during a live stream? Comments by viewers usually spirals into much more. Parvi. This is exactly how we control them. We ignore this question. Okay, or we come back and say we will come back to you shortly. Those are the FAQs. Now, especially Gaurav, has done this very deliberately and not shared these questions beforehand to catch us unawares people. Okay. Avnish, why don't you answer this? Please specify the pros and cons for all types of virtual events that you have mentioned. This will help your client, Arjun Saxena, decide which route to take.
That's an interesting question, Arjun, but we only answer these questions once we get the brief. So if you can send me a brief, I'll be able to give you the pros and cons because I will only able to advise once I know what you want.
I second that. I think this is very important. And there is a client also online. If I'm not sure whether you guys are aware. Anubha Mathur from Dentsu is doing a desk run with us for an external point of view. And I think we'd like to leave this message with her that anything, please don't ask us, costing de do kal tak, ek concept de do kal tak, this won't be working going forward. Avnish, next question, please take.
What does your webinar page platform look like? I would like to see one-on-one demo sometime soon. For sure, as I said, what kind of a demo do you need? Because there are demos which are generic in nature. If you want something personalized, if you want something customized, I would highly recommend that we get immediately on a call, discuss your brief, and as I mentioned, from that, take it forward. We would love to do a customized demo for you.
I'd like to add to that, Avnish, if I may.
Yeah, sure.
The platform that anybody would use would be pretty much like a bus people would take from the ISBT. There are multiple such buses going to multiple such locations. We from Wizcraft have crafted our own platform, which is called AO. AO stands for Always On. The logo, hopefully, Pranav will design today and share with us. That platform allows you to host virtual events, allows multiple windows. Avnish, talk about On24, yeah? So that's what it is.
Yeah. So one second. So there are multiple platforms which are available, and one such platform which we are looking at very keenly is I don't know if we are supposed to take the name here.
Always On. It's called AO.
Always On.
AO.
Do you want to be progressive, Sandeep? We can turn that into FO.
It's called AO. Okay.
Forever On.
So I think we'll move to the next question.
No. Okay. If I'm watching this from work, I will not be allowed to sign into YouTube. It does not give me an option of accessing the chat. Gaurav, if you had given us this question earlier, maybe we would have realized what we were up against and maybe we would have crafted the answer. You're right. We only saw this now. We will come back to you with a solution to this at the earliest. Ditto for that for Kenny.
So we also recommend, Sandeep, to add to that, we also recommend clients coming in 15-20 minutes earlier and a round of RSVP in terms of ensuring that they have logged in, and 15 minutes before doing our hygiene checks, it becomes important to check whether they have done it or not, because a lot of people will have some sort of problems logging in, and it's highly recommended to do this 15 minutes before.
All right. Go on, Avnish.
Question by Nalini. It looks really good. Thank you. What is the maximum number of screens participants that can be featured in this format? So Nalini, right now you're seeing a stage which we've custom made, which has 3 screens, but it is, I spoke about virtual and I spoke about the possibilities being endless. You can have as many screens you want to. The question of how many people can go live is right now limited at 8. But as we move forward, we will figure out other integrations as well.
Go on.
Shiksha Kotwal says, the screen looks very bright, which is making the text on the PPT look too faint, especially Viz Studios. Can we change that? Yes, Shiksha, that's a learning from today's demo. We will need to customize this presentation according to the resolution. We will be using dark colors. We also realized that we should have one camera only and not switch between the different cameras so that it becomes stationary and easy for people to kind of read what is on screen. Otherwise, the camera keeps shifting and then it becomes difficult to comprehend what's being presented. Amit Chaudhary asks, please comment on the commercials. Sure, Amit. If you could, we would love to chat with you on this, and I would like to schedule a Zoom call tomorrow at 11 o'clock to understand what your brief is. The commercials are completely subjective to the extent of how much you want to create in terms of creativity, etc., etc., etc. So,
Also
love to
depends,
have that conversation.
Avnish, I think we should add that it also depends on the kind of car you drive, the kind of clothes you wear, the kind of belt you're wearing, and the kind of shoes you wear. All that decides on how much we want to fleece you for.
Ranjan Kutti has asked, right now we have pre-placed cameras at different angles and we switch between them. Is it possible to have a moving camera that is moving from left to right or zoom in? Ranjan, that is a work in progress right now. We are definitely moving towards enhancing the switching of the cameras. We will get back to you on this as we move forward. Arjun Saxena has asked, how do we ensure quality of the video screens to be standard and uniform amongst all the speaker screens, as there is discrepancy in all the three screens and doesn't look good? Good question, Arjun. So there are two ways to go about this. If you're using your standard 720p or your HD camera, which is your FaceTime camera, since I have a Mac, it will give you an HD output. But if someone is not using that and is relying on a Windows or an older webcam, then you will find a discrepancy. So ideally, as a hygiene, I think we all need to invest in these kind of cameras so that there is a sense of standard all across. All visits should, since we are going to be moving in the digital world, we will have to have a standardization in terms of how we look on the virtual screen, how we look on the digital screen. So it's a valid point. We will ensure it in the guidelines next time. So I don't think there are more questions, Sandeep. We will wait for another minute.
Yeah. So while we are waiting for any more questions to come up, I have felt that there are two concern points. The first concern point is Facebook Live does not allow anonymity for questions, which is a concern. We need to figure a way out or find another operating methodology ASAP. Two, I think the flow went well. I think the switching between cameras, so both will get used to. This is the first time we're actually doing it on a live event, so I'm not too worried about that. The Q&As, again, we are okay. I mean, I could see the Q&As on the YouTube live window I had opened up here. I had like 4 windows open on the laptop. But the biggest concern I had was Q&A for people, one, not being able to log into YouTube. And the second is anonymity of questions. I think this is a huge concern point, which brings us back to our earlier conversation of the platforms that we would like to utilize. So I'm sending this message out into the universe, into the world wide web, specifically to Arjun and to Pranay. Your time has started. Get moving. Let's get an answer on those platforms ASAP. So there are some more questions, Avnish, if you want to read them out, please.
Sure. If Kenny has asked, if I want to interact with some other participant, is there a way to chat with them in a private window that would help us address the networking bit? Good question, Kenny. And continuing to what Sandeep said, the platform which we are going to be hosting this on will play a big role. The other solution to that is that people, like how we have 5 people on this Zoom session where we are talking on, we can have our clients there and our clients can talk with us, FaceTime with us, chat with us in whatever way. So that is one temporary solution for an integration. But whichever platform we go to, whether it is Non24 or Slido or whatever, that particular platform will have this two-way conversations happening. I will direct you to one video, which is the Tomorrowland concert, which they do every Tuesday. In fact, I don't know if I can share the screen here or not. but we will have this offline chat where they have one window which is the DJ who is playing live. They have one window which is the MC who is talking to the DJ live, and the same window you can see people's reactions every 2 minutes from different countries moving from one screen to the other screen, and everyone can kind of interact. So if they have done it, there is a platform available which can kind of host all of this. So we are rightly moving in that direction, and we should be closing this in the next 2-3 days. Question by Arjun.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Can a person in the audience ask a question by coming live on one of the screens? Can we see that? Yes, Arjun, I just spoke about that. If you come on our Zoom call right now, we are able to put your feed on one of the screens. So if we have 2 more screens in our stage, and if we know that a certain client needs that FaceTime on screen, we will invite the client, like how Maya was invited today. Earlier it was me and Sandeep, and it was only 2 screens. But now we could integrate Maya's feed also live. So if we have 5 screens, then if we tell the client well in advance, we can have the client's feed right on the virtual screens. Hope that answers your question.
Actually, to be very honest, we're a little away from the answer. The answer of Arjun is based on the platform we finally decide to use. So I would not expect my clients or my people who are viewing the event to go on to multiple platforms to be able to log in and to ask questions. That comes very convoluted. The idea, and Subodh, this is as much for you. The idea is to be able to go onto a platform where a person's live input can be taken and put onto the screen, like we done for the earlier demo that we had done. If you remember, in the side screens. I think that is something that we need to do urgently. But I think, if I'm not wrong, that depends mostly on the platform that we actually end up using.
But I have a point here, Sandeep, temporary. Okay. Say Anuba is leading from Dentsu, right? Now her team can watch the YouTube video. Okay. But she can be on our Zoom screen. So whenever we are doing Q&A, you have the representation of the client on the screen, where some lead questions will be asked, like how we are talking here. And the rest of it.
From a demo perspective, maybe. But when you go for a live event, no, can't work.
Right, yeah? Sure.
So that is, or let's put it this way. We can actually answer 2 questions. Actually, let me give me a second. We can answer 2 questions. If we can find a way to build in anonymity into the chat, we can have a client or whoever is conducting the event. Let's say, for example, SHRM is conducting the event and there's Arjun and Gaurav presenting. Parvi can be the moderator for the Q&A, like the MC of sorts. So she reads out the questions and she comes online. She comes live on the stream. She reads out the questions and we answer like we're doing presently. That's one way we're trying to do it. Right?
Yeah.
Guys, 1 second, Abhish. All of you are asking the same questions, Kenny. Like I said, the platform which we finally go up with should allow us to pick up people from their living rooms and putting them here. Now, my concern there is very simple. Imagine you pick up Sandeep Mehta sitting in Jharkhand and he's sitting topless. Then what? Or he starts doing Atmanirbhar acts. Then what? I think a better way to answer this question, and Avnish, I think you should really think this through, is to have a moderator who can be live on screen and moderate the questions for the foreseeable future. We are not a very refined set of citizens of the country. It could be anything happening on that camera, and that camera cannot go live.
Do you really feel that someone will do something like this?
Should I show you?
No, I think we want to have a nice evening.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to see my boobs. Okay, no, this is a very important point.
Okay, Arjun has asked this question. Can a person in the, are there going to be value add like walk-in tracks, light changing, etc. for transitions? Yes, there will be. We have seen it in the demos where you can. We have the virtual console with us, so we can dim the lights. We can change the light settings. In the product launch demo, we saw the countdown. We saw the spotlights, intelligent lights going crazy and creating that drama. Right now, Subodh is going to be given 2 days or 1 day to kind of program more lighting settings in this stage. He has not been working on it for some reason, but when we go live in the next day or two, we should be able to have a kick-ass light integration which shows mood lighting. So both
I'd like
Thanks.
to bring I'd like to bring something to the table here. Maya, you're on screen and being watched by multiple people. Can you smile?
Yes, I'm smiling.
Yeah, thank you. Because I'm looking at the YouTube video and you're looking very morose and very sad and very.
I'm also looking at the YouTube thing. The delay is a bit too much, though.
But that don't concern yourself with the delay.
I'm not.
Kenny, thank you. If you're watching this on mobile and have stepped out for a smoke, I'm glad that you're being able to see this without any lag. So I think broadly we've covered all points. Subodh, have your questions, queries been answered? You've understood the concerns that are coming up as well?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Mannat question, can we upload and play the content on the spot after the live streaming has started? No, Mannat, we do not allow that even on Watch Out. We will not allow this here. You have a habit of doing it. You are to stop doing it. Full stop. There is no option. Not allowed. Never. No. Is that point clear, Mannat? You can answer. Okay, there's another question coming up somewhere. They're getting deferred questions. Okay, we got it. No, I don't think that question answer is required now because they're opening the window of YouTube. If you dim the light from the console, the screen looks better. Okay, fine. This is for Subodh.
So, but to do that point, I think it perfectly defines the impact of an Unreal stage. Is that when you dim a virtual, your screen, like how in a real event, when you dim lights, your content stands out. So I think that is a very important point to note, that we can create these kind of effects brilliantly.
Light to normal rakna. Can I also add?
There he is. He's reducing the lights.
Can I also add here something?
Yes,
can you dim the lights? I like that.
It looked much nicer. So both when you dim the lights, then the 3 screens stood out much better.
I'll just answer to that because we have not changed the lights now in this demo. Is the reason because the camera which are capturing you guys, basically, especially Avnish camera. That's if I dim the light, so his feed is looking like very dull. So just to give three of us a better brightness, we have not dimmed the light.
So that
yes,
also
there are three or 4 steps lights we have programmed here. So I'll just show you quickly now. Just dim the light once. This is the brighter. Okay, dim, more dim, and there is there any other dim. Yeah, this is the max dim we did. So once I dim this now, see the Avnish feed, because Avnish, there is not sufficient light at the Avnish place.
Right now, and that brings me to this point, Subodh, that we need to have a guideline from you in terms of what setting the speaker needs to be in. I think like how we have guidelines and SOPs for our on-ground events, we need to create these for our virtual presence and the do's and don'ts and lighting and how we are putting on stage, etc., etc.
So my feeling is, even right now, Subodh, correct me if I'm wrong, I think when you've got too much of white in the background, you're getting a flare.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it needs to have a little bit of color or depth that will make it better.
Okay. So is it possible to have announcer video? Nalini, I think that question got answered automatically. Subsequent demos for the time being, let's have a frame or a creative template within which the live feed of the... Why do you feel that? Do you not like our houses? Do you not like the multicolored walls and the curtains in Maya's house? Parvi? I will leave this question to you, Avnish, but I'm going to say there is a mirror image coming on the person on stage. Yes, the production did a fabulous job. The Pergo flooring is stunning. It's brand new, it's polished. Thank you, Sunny, for that work.
I think it's brilliant. It's a good observation, Sunny.
Okay, the next one is Arjun, obviously trying to be Arjun. Please answer that one.
Which one? Question number 20.
Please comment on the data security aspect, considering some presentations are considered as assets of our clients. How are we ensuring no screen grabs, etc.?
So Arjun, two ways to answer this. One is that the platform we go ahead with, there will be a fully encrypted end-to-end coding, which will allow the security to step in whenever they sense. It's all about programming, right? So all these platforms do have the security protocol, and we can custom make it to how we want it. Second, on screen grabbing, like how you have in Snapchat or any other platforms, the option of turning screen grab off is available. It again, as I said, it just depends on who we go ahead with and what we kind of do from a security discussion point of view. But the third point is that somebody has to record it from their phone, will record it. I mean, there is no stopping that.
I have a question there as well, Avnish.
Yeah.
Even if there is a security profile built into the platform that we finally end up using, and maybe Subodh, you can also answer this question as a voice of God. What stops me, a viewer, to put a camera like this and record the whole thing?
Nothing.
Nothing.
We can record. Why
It's
not?
like going into a movie and copy paste, pirating it, right?
See,
Yeah.
piracy you can't control. Seriously.
You can't control. But that also, I also feel, Subodh, that
Yeah.
I think it's important. Suppose we are sending a link to a client. We need to tell the client that register only 5 people or 3 people or 10 people, so that we know in the back end 10 views are only there.
Yeah.
If there is 15, then we know that the link is gone to someone else.
Someone else, yeah.
Right now, how many people are viewing this? Can anybody tell me data?
The person on the YouTube live dashboard will be able to say this.
It's
Who's
22
that?
now.
22 people.
Now, there are 22 people.
Interesting. Okay.
So Sandeep, did you get that point that we'll have to advise our clients, and we should only do one-on-one demos. We should not do 5, 6.
So for the demos, fair enough. For the demos, I understand we could do client to client, even if it is 2 people or 3 people. But Subodh, I think we need to find an answer to the platform where independence. There are multiple questions, right? So let me give you, Subodh, if you can, or Pranay, if you can, write these questions down, it would be nice. That first, how do we get a person live on screen from a remote location? Now, whether we want to do it or not is up to our hand, keeping in mind the Sunny Leone or the Main Dilruba wala fashion. Whether we want to do it or not is a concern or question that we will answer. But the possibility of being able to do it is something you need to answer. 1. 2, how can we ensure that the questions that are being asked, there is a certain anonymity to those, and they cannot be read out by Tom, Dick, and Harry. Another very valid question asked by Kenny was that tomorrow in a client gathering, some random ass comes in and starts giving maa behan ki galis. On the chat also, it is not right. Right? So how do we address that? The answer is not ignoring them, Gaurav. The answer is we need to find a solution for it. And we will. I think this is the first time we're doing this. I mean, very frankly, when I was born, there was nothing called the WWW World Wide Web also. So I've come a long distance. We've all come a long distance. I think we should put our hands together, all of us, to the people who put this together. And if you have any more questions, you are welcome to ask them now. Otherwise, I would like to get off the YouTube live and maybe do a joint Zoom call, including Subodh and Sutan, so that one by one we can raise our concerns and queries, which we may not have wanted to do online or whatever the thing may be. I think what's come out is the flow went off beautifully. The segmentation and the sequencing of content happened Okay. I think those holding slides that have been put in there and all that need to be cleaned up for the presentation. That can be done. The concerns that have come up, I'm sure PK is making a point of them, or Arjun is definitely making a point of them, and we'll try and find answers for them. We don't have answers today. That much I'm certain of. So if we're all okay with it, and if somebody and anybody can send up thumbs up in the chat, then we can sign off from YouTube, get off the stress of having to not eat or drink or go to the loo, and come back onto a entire Discraft Delhi Zoom call.
So there's one question which Shiksha has asked, Sandeep, which is just popped on my screen. How are you controlling the console? Can you please tell us how this is, and can we have a demo of the backending programming? So we usually have...
Let Subodh answer.
No, this is a client asking, so we have to tell that it's a proprietary virtual console which we have developed specially for this. And if we give this away, then we should
You just made sure that Subodh asked you for triple the amount of money next time you do an event with him. No, there's another question from Shiksha. Can we have a demo of the back? Achha, that same one. Sorry.
Oh, there are two more questions, but I think we can answer them in our Zoom meeting, Sandeep.
I think, thank you guys.
Including
Subodh, Maya, Sultan, thank you. And let's get on to Zoom. Avnish, send the request out to people, please. In about 3 minutes, I want to have a quick smoke. I'm a little stressed.
Okay, guys, thank you. And see you on Zoom for another call. Bye, Subodh. Bye, Maya. Bye.